All right. In this session, I will demonstrate the grid layout. A simple example you to understand how do you arrange the components in the grid. When I say grid, it is a combination of rows and column, like a matrix, rows and columns, number of rows and number of columns. Right. Let me create this one. We have some 6 buttons. I'm creating 6 buttons to arrange in the grid format, like calculator, basically calculator. So these are the buttons: 1 2 3 4 5 6 buttons. I have created 6 buttons here. I just give random names, button 1, and I'm adding the button 1 to the container, or you can say here the layout, adding to the as a container. Button 2, this is button 2, and button 3 you can use simple name blank. Button 3 4 5 6, right away I'm adding. Or you can add at the last, first create, then you can add, doesn't matter, one by one. Okay, so I'm running the file. You see it has only added only one button, last button, right? Because I did not set the layout. I did not set the layout. So first you need to set the layout. Set layout. Now I say default here. I said layout, new layout. What layout here? When I say set layout, for example, set layout, does it take the value? Yes, it takes the value here. Basically, you see, before I set the layout here, actually it's a, when you run the file, you see, observe here, it is only one option is showing here. Where are the button 1 to button 1, but this is button 2. Actually there is a default layout, is called card layout. Card, 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 cards, playing card games. So you keep one card behind another card, another card, you arrange like a stack, right? So there is a buttons, but you cannot see this one. This is because they are arranged in the form of card, like this button. For example, I have this window, okay, open. Now another one, this one is like, now you cannot see the browser because the browser is behind the big screen, right? So now you can minimize this, you can see this part. So this is like a card layout. So default layout is card. If you don't set, now we want the layout. How do you set the grid layout? By using grid layout, I want to arrange into 2 rows, 3 columns, and some gap between them. For example, 5% or some dimensions, gap between them. So now you will see the file. Now this arrange automatically, 2 rows, 3 columns. Now when you make 2 rows, it automatically arrange to divide the number of buttons, and arrange the buttons, remaining buttons, automatically 3 rows. Even you write here 4 5 6, there is no 6 columns, right? So run the file, it will take as a 2, right? This, first it will take, and you see the gap, horizontal gap, vertical gap. This is designed by this one. So I will increase the gap here. Let me write more concise here, because you have only 6 rows, 6 buttons. So, and this is 10. So you see the gap here, you add the gap. Can you see the gap is increasing, right? So this is how you add the buttons in the layout. Example, you want change the more rows, you want more rows, then you have 2 3 into 2 6, because you have 6, right? So run the file, you see you have 3 rows and 2 columns. Automatically takes 2 columns. For example, add 3 columns, you see, will not accept, right? Because it's 3. Okay, so this is default one. Now beside this one, you see, I want to create some, let's open close all this addition extra running, because maybe I did not close the file. Let's close. Yes. All right. So what I can do here, instead of creating buttons one by one, I want to create some, shortcut. If you have buttons in one shot, like a calculator, so just like here, 1 or 1 2 3 4 5 6. Let me button 1 2 3 4 5 6, just to arrange in this format. Then next, We'll add one more. 7, 8, 9, and we have, you can say something, plus, then you have minus, and you have 0, whatever you write it, right? So these are my buttons. Okay, and there is this comma is missing, so this is array of, and this comma is missing here. So these are my buttons, array of buttons. I want to add the buttons. Instead of creating all these things, I just remove all this part because I don't want it. I want to write in single loop, I want to use these buttons. Okay, so for loop, I want to use this for loop. How many buttons we have? 12, right? 1 2 3 4, 4 into 3, 12. So start from 0, we return 0, array 0 to 13, that is 0 to 12, I plus plus. Then I can say here button. How do you add? I want to add the button. First you need to create button. Create button. How do you create a button? Button j button off. You need to add the button here. What is the button here? btn, this one is gone. Okay, it's not necessary. btn of array, that's it. That's the code here. So I'm taking the loop starting 0 to 12, less than 13 is 12, it is 11, right? Or we can make it as a 12, whatever your condition is. Just now start from 1 1, I equal to 0, 0 less than 12, true. Then it will create a button. Then it will add automatically to the container, right? So button of 0, it will create button of 0. What is button of 0? Is 1, then 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So let's run the file. Oh, there is something missing here. Good. Index out of bound exception is 12. Index out of bound reach 12. I0 button of 0. Let's see on the file 0 to, okay, yes, we added one more extra. You see buttons. These are all the buttons created in one click. Okay, 0 to 11 is 12. Sorry, 0 to 11 is 12. So start from 0. Cannot start 1 because we need 0 means the first element. Or you can go with the reverse. No, you can go with reverse order also. So I hope it's clear. Now you can change the grade. This is four rows, 3 columns in the file. Okay, 1 2 3 4 3, 1 2 3, whatever the grid. How do you like the grid here? So with gap and everything. Hope this is a grid, rows and column with gap. So whenever you have big buttons, use this string and you try to understand. This is the easiest way to create the buttons in one click. Okay, buttons, list, data, everything. I hope we have completed the grid layout, border layout, flow layout, all the layout managers, and most of the controls. Inshallah, next session we will have some action event sections. I hope everyone can practice this section, and before coming to the next session, that's next class.